rock on. For a little housekeeping, a reminder that there is no photography or videography following this event, or allowed during the event, sorry. So please make it enjoyable for everyone by putting away your phones and all that equipment. And if you do not comply with this request, you will be given a friendly warning by our lovely staff. After that, repeat offenders will be asked to politely leave. All right, so you may know him for films and TV shows such as Robin Hood Men in Tights, Psych, Stranger Things, Saw, Seinfeld, Twister, The Marvelous Miss Maisel, Knuckles, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, and most recently Gus Van Zant's thriller Dead Man's Wire, but you probably know him best as Wesley in The Princess Bride. Please welcome Cary Elwes! So, let's start out with a fan favorite. Okay. The Princess Bride. First of all, I'm sorry for your loss of your friend, the director Rob Reiner. Do you have a favorite behind-the-scenes moment or memory from working on the set with him?
Sure. Rob was truly one of the great human beings. It wasn't just someone I worked with, but someone I became very close with. And it's a terrible loss. But I do remember one of the first things he said to me when we started the movie was he said, always remember to have fun. And that was his philosophy. And boy, did we have fun. And that film, if you love it, it's a testament to Rob's heart. And he really did have true love in his heart for everyone. So, yeah.
So, what was it like working with Andre the Giant as well? Do you have some fun memories working with him?
Andre really had a big heart too, but as big as he was. Let's see. Yeah, Andre, well, we had a lot of downtime together, and he would take out his wallet every so often and share photographs with me. He had old school photographs in his wallet. They were all creased and faded, and I remember him showing me a picture of himself dressed in a very nice suit in Paris when he was in, I think, his 20s or 30s. And it's a picture of him lifting up a car. And I said, Andre, what's that? And he said, oh, that's when I have fun. I said, explain it to me. He said he used to go to bars with his friends in Paris, and he would excuse himself to go to the bathroom. He'd go outside and he'd repark their cars behind lampposts so they couldn't get out. And then when he paid for the bill, he'd walk out with them and watch them all try and escape with their cars trapped. He thought that was the greatest thing. So he had a photographer take pictures of him. He was a lovely man.
Oh my gosh. So, switching gears to another classic, Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Thank you.
What was it like working with Mel Brooks on that kind of comedy?
He was a man. Listen, he's a legend. He still is a legend, always will be a legend. I grew up watching his movies. I'm sure a lot of you grew up, watching his movies. You know, I watched them all like many times. The producers, Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein. So when I got the call from him, I was at home actually, and I picked up the phone, and a voice on the other end said, "Hi, it's Mel Brooks." And I said, "Yeah, sure," and I hung up. Because I thought, why would Mel Brooks be calling me at home now? And of course, the phone rang again. He went, "It is me, don't hang up, don't hang up." And it turned out it was him, and I was obviously wonderfully surprised that Mel Brooks was calling me at home. Turns out, you know, he had me in mind to play Robin Hood in his movie, so that was a big thrill for me. Yeah.
So how is it working on a comedy like Robin Hood Men in Tights compared to your more dramatic roles?
I don't judge the roles I play or the genre. To me, if the script excites me or fears me, it makes me feel fearful rather, usually that's what I gravitate towards. It's got to be on the page, and it has to be something that makes me slightly anxious, and that makes me think, okay, now I can test myself a little bit. So, yeah.
So you guest starred in one of my favorite TV shows, Psych, as the villainous Pierre Desperado.
Thank you.
How fun was it working on that set?
Very silly. Very silly show. I hadn't been really into the show when they cast me, so the producers sent me a whole box of VHS tapes for me to catch up. And there were a lot of seasons for me to watch, so I really didn't get through them all before I had to fly up to Vancouver to shoot. And I didn't realize how silly James and Rodé really are. You know, it's silly people. Rodé had this, he would scream as his character, like a little girl. And I wasn't prepared for that. So when we did the take, I went, no, really, no. And the director yelled cut and goes, yeah, that's how he screams. Like a little girl. And so I unfortunately ruined one of Rodé's better takes. But they were great. It was very silly, the whole shoot. Just absurd, really. Yeah.
So speaking of villains, you also played Deadlinger, sorry, opposite Tom Cruise. Deadlinger, sorry. Opposite Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning.
Yes.
What was it being a part of such a massive franchise?
It was a thrill for me. I grew up watching the TV series. I'm that old. I grew up watching the TV series. So I almost felt like I manifested that because I adored the film franchise. I just thought what Tom was doing with it was so brilliant. And there's a reason they were so successful. And I was lucky and grateful that I got to be as a part of that franchise just as it was winding down. So it was great to get the call from Tom. Yeah, lovely.
So your latest film, Dead Man's Wire,
Yes.
which is now streaming on most platforms, is directed by legendary Gus Van Sant.
Yes.
What can you tell us about the movie and your experience with him?
Well, again, another director I've always wanted to work with, a terrific filmmaker. If you've not seen his films, he's the man responsible for, he did, gosh, I'm blanking right now. He did, thank you, Good Will Hunting, among many other great movies. My Own Private Idaho. He's a phenomenal filmmaker. And so I got a chance to play a real character. I play a detective, Mike Grable. And I didn't know about the story. It's based on a true story about a guy who was crazy in Indianapolis in the 1970s who believes that his mortgage broker is stealing from him. So he decides to take matters into his own hands and kidnaps one of the brokers and holds him captive for 63 hours. It's a terrific cast. It's Bill Skarsgård, you know Bill from it, yeah, and Bruce Willis, fantastic in the film. Coleman Domingo is in it. Al Pacino, and Dacre Montgomery, whom I work with on Stranger Things. He plays the broker who's kidnapped. It's a terrific cast. And Mai Hala, who's terrific, plays a reporter. I'm very proud of the picture. You guys, if you have an opportunity to watch it, I really recommend it. It's not a movie. It's a film, because Gus makes cinema. And you can count the filmmakers on one hand who are still able to do that today. So it's a dying art form, but I guarantee you, he filmed it in the style of a classic 70s movie. You know, he has that feeling of, obviously it's Dog Day Afternoon, which is why we have the Easter egg about Pacino, but also French Connection, Network, that kind of thing. So it has that vibe to it. It's really amazing. So very proud of it. Yeah.
So moving into online fan questions.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, exactly. What was it like, Vanessa from Innisfil asks, what was it like working with Robin Wright and building the chemistry that made Wesley and Buttercup so believable?
Well, Robin is a terrific actor. I mean, she cut her teeth doing a TV series called Santa Barbara. And so she'd actually worked more than I had at that point in my career. But we just hit it off right away. She's very funny. She doesn't do that many comedies anymore. I mean, but she's hysterically funny. And we laughed every day on that set. She was just terrific. And by the way, an amazing English accent, which is very rare for an American actor. She has a British stepfather, so she grew up watching Monty Python, that kind of thing. So that gave her the chops to do the role, I think. But she's a very talented person, very lovely.
Isabella from Annisburg asked, how has the enduring popularity of The Princess Bride affected your life and career over the past 3 decades?
Well, it changed my life, I mean, and my career, obviously, and for the better. And I'm grateful for it. I never take it for granted. I call it the gift that keeps on giving. And, I'm always grateful that people will still come up to me and quote my line to me, or have fond memories of it. I meet a lot of folks who've held on to their VHS copies. For some reason, it's become a family heirloom. Some folks have come up to my table and asked me to sign their copy, and tape's coming out of it like a Casper. But it's very heartwarming, and the fact that people still love it after all this time is really special.
Mm-hmm. So Marcus from Smiths Falls asks, what was your experience like working on Saw and transitioning into such a dark and psychological thriller?
Well, I read the script and met James Wan and Lee Whannell. I read the script in one sitting, and I thought it was so brilliantly written. And I met them for lunch in LA. And James pulled out a portfolio of drawings that he'd done of all the costumes and the sets and the pig mask and the bathroom. So he was quite an amazing draftsman. And then he lifted up a suitcase onto the table and he opened it, and inside was the puppet. And which he also made himself. And I said, you brought that all the way from Australia? He said, oh yeah. I had to book it a first class ticket. So I knew they were serious at that point. And they're lovely, and we had a great time. It was a very short shoot. We shot it in 18 days. Wow. And so, yeah, for a budget of almost $1 million. And it opened to over 100 million, so the investors were obviously very happy. Gosh, yeah.
So Dylan from Carlton Place asks, what's the most creative or touching way a fan has expressed their love for your work?
Well, going back to The Princess Bride, I meet a lot of people who have watched the film with sick parents or sick grandparents, and sometimes in the hospital with them, or they're in hospice. And it's the last thing they watch together, because it was the first thing they watched together. And that never gets old. That's always very touching and very sweet. So, yeah, the thing has taken on a life of its own, really. Yeah.
Amara from Renfrew asks, how do you choose your roles now, and what kind of projects excite you at this stage of your career?
Anything that, like I said, stretches me as an artist, makes me feel like it's something I'm not retreading old ground, you know? Yeah, like I said, it's all got to be on the page. And if it's different, if it's got some good message to it, something both historic value or sociological value, that usually is a good criteria for me. Yeah.
So Caleb from Strathroy asks, if you could work with any director or actor you haven't collaborated with yet, who would it be and why?
Who I haven't worked with yet?
Yep.
Gosh, there's lots, you know. There's so many, I wouldn't want to narrow it down to just a few. There's so many wonderful filmmakers out there right now, and so many coming up through the ranks. So it's a very exciting time. It's a tough time too. We've got a lot of issues in the industry. There's been a lot of people losing their jobs, which is very sad. But hopefully, it'll bounce back. I'm always an optimist by nature, and so I feel like these are times that we've had tough times in the past, right? And I always think that it's like a pendulum. It swings back and forth. We go through bad times, and then it comes back to being good times. So I'm like I said, I'm an optimist about it. Yeah.
So, going back into The Princess Bride for a second, what was your reaction to being cast in the movie?
Well, like I said, it was a big thrill for me. I read the book when I was 13. I loved it, and thankfully I made a film called Lady Jane, which Rob Reiner had seen with Helena Bonham Carter, and he and Bill Goldman watched that together, and they decided that I was the right guy. Yeah.
And since coming to conventions like this, what have been kind of your favorite parts about getting to meet the fans?
Getting to meet the fans. That's where it's at. Thank you so much, Adam. I appreciate you having me up here.
All right,
Thank
ladies
you.
and gentlemen, Cary Elwes.
Thank you.
Coming by my booth.
Love to see you fans soon, okay? Appreciate you. Thank you.